What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Whiskey Delta, brought to you by Military Gaming League. In this show, we find the movers and shakers in the military and veteran gaming community, highlight their contributions to enrich the lives of those around them. I'm your host, Mike Karnowski, aka Devil, and let's get in the details. Our guest this morning is Gretchen Smith from Code of Vets.
And we kind of start on a note this morning about our nation's military. Most of us agree that our military veterans need some assistance. Here's one lady who has gone way beyond that. She knows they need assistance. She's doing something about it and calling it some pretty big names, including yours. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Gretchen Smith.
I'm Sebastian Gorka. This is America First on the Salem Radio Network, and we have a special guest today to close the show. Her name is Gretchen Smith.
We are live. This is Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network, and I have here someone who I have been following probably for the last at least 6 months plus, and just admiring her work. I want to welcome to the show Gretchen Smith of Code of Vets.
Based out of Tennessee, working wonders in the veteran community, massive grassroots approach to all things veterans and improving life. Gretchen, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it immensely. Thank you for coming to the show. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and Code of Vets.
Thanks for having me, Mike. It's such an honor to be able to share our mission. I'm so proud of it. I'm an Air Force veteran. I served back in the 90s. I met my husband over in Ramstein, Germany. It was a great springboard for us into life. It just, really instilled in us the values needed to have a successful life. And we've created our own American dream. And we look back and we contribute our time in the Air Force as a crucial part of our success. So fast forward to 2020, my dad was a combat veteran. Code of Vets is inspired by him, his life, his journey. He never did seek out the help that he needed and never did find peace with what he did in the jungle, and he ended up losing his battle with PTSD back in 2005. And I had several conversations with Dad that really touched my heart, and I never was able to get some of the words. They were seared into my soul. And one of the most important conversations with Dad, when I sat down and talked to him, and I said, I was crying. I said, Dad, what are you doing? We need you. And his life was just so chaotic. And what I didn't understand at the time was it was just a direct reflection of his spirit. His spirit was shattered and chaotic on the inside. So that's how his behavior was on the outside. And he looked at me and he just tears just started rolling. And he said, Gretchen, I'm tired. I'm done. I can't fight them anymore. I want to go home. And those words just stuck with me, and I never could get over that. So when we lost Dad, I focused on raising my own kids, but I always knew I wanted to do something to honor him. And back in 2017, I started a Twitter page called Code of Vets. And I started sharing my journey with Dad and how it impacted me and some of the ups and downs he had in his life and the manner in which he died. And it resonated with the veteran community immediately. It just exploded in growth. And veterans started sharing their journeys. Not only did they share their journeys, but they started sharing their needs. And and because of Dad, who he was and his broken spirit, he had a lot of issues in his life with alcoholism, with he had interaction with the law. He was in and out of jail 40 sometimes. So he was not a perfect person. Lots of issues. But so a lot of the veterans coming to us, they were like, either Gretchen, I was on that path just like your dad, or that's where I'm at right now. What can I do? Can you do anything to help me? So, I partnered up with my partner right now, Dr. Cindy Walter, who's been a professional advocate for many years and has a great amount of resources and connections throughout the country. And she became half of Code of Vets. And together we made a fierce team. We operate purely on social media. And as she vets the veterans, and she'll create case plans for veterans who are in distress, or we have a veteran that only needs one-time service, one-time assistance with groceries or with the light late on a light bill. So we run the gambit of issues throughout the country, from small to homelessness. So that's what's unique about Code of Vets, is that we've just organically grown and evolved. And as word gets out about our mission, and that it's heart driven, and that 99 cents of every dollar gets back to that veteran in need, it's exploded in growth. I can't keep up with it. I'm actually chasing Coda Vets. It's like a life, and I love it. I love it because it's always growing and changing as needed for the vets out in the country. So it's been a blessing to see this grow and just our stance becomes stronger and stronger. Our platform, we're able to accomplish more in quicker amounts of time. And the goal is to get Coda Vets on Twitter to 1 million followers. Because right now we're at 270 some thousand. Imagine what we could do with 1 million followers. We're helping hundreds or if not thousands of veterans right now, but we could easily triple, quadruple those numbers. So I'm just so excited about what we're doing because there's so much potential given the fact that we're using social media.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the fact that, you really haven't been around as an organization for more than a couple years. And the fact that you've already amassed such a following is absolutely incredible. I don't doubt that one day and probably one day soon that goal will be reached, and that you already do so many amazing things with the following that you have. And absolutely, I can't imagine how many more amazing things that you're going to do, especially when you've got a network as vast as the one that you've already got and still growing. Buying a plane ticket's easy, but it's not just about one plane ticket sometimes, is it? It's sometimes it's housing, it's groceries. So if you want to get into that a little bit more on what a day looks like and what a potential week looks like.
Every day is unique again, because we're so grassroots and organic, and we're not incredibly structured. We do have a Vets in Need form on codavets.com website that veterans can go to. And that's where a lot of we're funneling to streamline what we're doing, because we've got so many numbers. We're trying to funnel veterans that way, and we're getting more and more veterans to do that. However, we have veterans coming in from different manners too, not just that particular website. They'll message us. They have our emails. We'll get direct emails, and they'll skip the line, so to speak. So as we grow, we're learning. We're becoming more organized. But hey, this is a beautiful problem to have, because veterans have a place to go to where they know that they're going to get the care that they need, and we're going to really not just throw money at them. We're not an ATM, but we're going to walk with them behind the scenes until they are stabilized in their life with whatever it is that they're going through. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, and roughly 75 veterans a day ask for help. So we do know that. It can't, one day maybe 90, one may be 50, but generally we're looking at about 75 veterans a day asking for some sort of assistance. So yesterday I had a young veteran in his 20s in Baltimore, Maryland, reach out to me directly. He did not go through the system like we're trying to encourage him to, but all he needed was, groceries. So I put a call out, put a tweet out, and within 30 minutes I had somebody said, I'm about an hour away. Where's he at? What does he need? Does he have any allergies? So, when I put out a call to action, we usually get a response within an hour, and that happens all the time. So every day looks different. Our veterans, I don't like to treat them like a herd of cattle. And I think, a lot of the times, in the military, we were all herded through, we got our shots together, and, there's really no individuality, which is what makes us so fierce and, effective. But when we come out and we're veterans, we need to treat them as human beings and as individuals and with unique needs. And although we do see trends and patterns, there are times, in life that just life hits you. It's not that you're a bad person, or it's just that a lot of things can happen at one, whether it's a bad divorce, you happen to lose your job. A lot of our veterans end up homeless because they're living paycheck to paycheck, and it's not because they're addicts or alcoholics. It's just because life happens. And when they reach out to us, and we vet the situation and get a good understanding of what's going on, then we can, assist if they do have an addiction, and we find out in their mind about it. We can say, okay, let's stop everything we're doing and let's focus on this particular issue, because once we get this, fixed, and once we recognize it and get the treatment we need, then we can move on to getting you funds and into an apartment. And it works beautifully.
You have an organization, Coda Vets.
Yes.
You're finding a lot of people are struggling with the coronavirus that are a whole new set of issues now.
Oh, absolutely. This pandemic has taken us into an entirely different level of assisting vets. We are really helping good men and women that are hard workers, that have lost their jobs, they have no paychecks and no ability to feed their families or pay basic bills. These are our men and women who've put the uniform on, taken the oath, and sacrificed their number of years of their life to protect us. And so it's now our time to step up and walk beside them through this time of need. They're terrified. How do you live without a paycheck? They feel like they're living on air at sometimes, and we get emails that you would not believe saying, Gretchen, I don't know where our next meal is coming from to feed our children. So it is a blessing to have Charlie partner with us during this time to use his name to be able to raise the donations needed to cover these veterans, because they are worthy men and women.
I had a phone call from a veteran that I bawled. He called and he said, Gretchen, you don't know who I am. He said, you don't know my name. He said, but you saved my life last year. He said, I was sitting at my kitchen table with a gun in one hand and my phone in the other. And he said, I was going to blow my brains out because I was going through a hellacious divorce. I was losing my boys. I'm an alcoholic. I see no path forward, and my phone buzzes. And he said, I looked down on it, and it was a tweet about hope. And it was a tweet about it's going to get better. And he said, I clicked on that tweet and started reading the replies of other veterans talking to you about that tweet about hope. And he said, that day I chose differently because of one tweet. What we're doing is powerful. One tweet can save a life. I mean,
Absolutely.
It's kind of funny to say that. It's, but there's so much power when you're sharing hope, when you're offering a path forward. Because when you're sitting in those dark moments in your kitchen by yourself and you're just in darkness, you can't find a way out. But if you reach out, we can walk with you to find a way forward until you have the strength and until mentally you can, find your way out of it. So there's so much strength in Code of Vets and so much power in it. It's not just about money. It's about us being there for each other in those moments of darkness so that we can find a way out and back into life. We've got some of the stories are just, it's why I do it every day. It's my paycheck. That phone call is my paycheck. That's exactly why I work so hard every day. It is for a phone call like that.
Yeah, that validation, that one-on-one validation has got to, I'd be a puddle on the floor getting a phone call like that. So the fact that you are dealing with that on a daily basis, I know sometimes it may be being in the right place at the right time, but it seems like you're in the right place at the right time for a lot of veterans, saving a lot of lives.
Yeah, there was a niche to be filled in the social media world, using the platforms the way we're incredibly unique in that manner. I don't see another vet ward quite functioning the way we do. And we do have a team in place behind Cindy. We've built a team where there's probably about 9 or 10 of us. So what she does is once she vets out the veteran, she can farm out the lower level issues that we can address quickly, and the team can handle. She takes on the complicated ones, such as, we had a veteran with 5 kids living in the car down in Georgia. So she took that on, and, I raised the funds for it, and we were able to get them out of the car within the matter of work through, but we were able to get them out of that van they were living in and into an apartment. So, and she still monitors them to make sure it doesn't happen, because once we do get them into an apartment, I feel like it's a responsibility for us as a community to make sure that, especially being he's a single U.S. Air Force veteran dad with 5 kids. So, we want to make sure that we're giving him some support behind the scenes. So there are sometimes that we'll have to follow a veteran for a year or two just to make sure they're stabilized. Because again, when you get into a situation of homelessness, it is incredibly hard to break out of that cycle. And then you are at risk of becoming homeless again. It's just, I'm blown away by what I'm learning as we grow as an advocacy group. But anyway, I mean, what we're doing it's so effective. Because, once I share the journey and the story, that's all it takes. The donors will then take over, and they'll if they don't have the funds, they'll retweet it and they'll find donors. So that's how we're able to bring in the funds. We need to talk about those funds because I'm so excited. Okay. So,
absolutely. Go for it. Just get into it.
We have such heavy stuff on our plates and in our hearts that we carry. We need to talk about PTSD and suicide because if there's a spike in it right now, and we need to be aware of that in our community and make sure we're on each other. We need to be connecting with each other to make sure we're okay. But anyway, we partnered with Charlie Daniels and his vet org. April 17th, there was, a huge media blitz, and, he did some interviews, I did some interviews, and we did the Huckabee interview together. It has blown up. Oh my gosh, we have raised over $500,000 since April 17th alone. Last year, I'm the only one who fundraises. So last year I raised $791,000, and that was our first full year as a 501c3. That's just ridiculous. Just so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and with 1% operating costs on top of that. That's what I love. I'm so proud of that. I know my dad's proud. That's what makes me happy. Going, you go, baby girl.
Yeah, I don't know of any other organization within the that has gone from startup to fully functioning in that amount of time, been able to raise that amount of money and also have that low of an operating cost. It doesn't exist. It just doesn't. And so the $500,000 since then, how much of that, because it's kind of the joint project that you got going on with Charlie Daniels brand, that's a separate named project, correct? I don't remember the name off the top of my head. Or is it all Code of Vets?
It comes to Code of Vets.
Okay, so because I'm looking at it, the Journey Home Project.
Yeah, so, but when we do our interviewing together, and I will say it now, if you want, you can donate to either Code of Vets or the Journey Home Project. The Journey Home Project is a beautiful organization run by Charlie Daniels. He's a legend. I love that man.
Oh yeah.
Tonight is I guess you'd say our major fundraiser for the year for the Journey Home Project. The night is about fun and about education. We want people to know what we're doing, but we also want them to know to see the effects of what we're doing. We'll be showing some of the ramifications, some of the things we've been doing. We try to honor the people who have really gone above and beyond to help our veterans.
If some of us folks don't step up privately and do some things for these veterans and for our servicemen and women, who's going to do it?
Journey Home Project was founded to try to help our men and women who are coming back from their military service, most of them from combat, to reposition themselves back into civilian life.
We give them a sword to go over and fight and to serve our country. And when they come back, you kind of take that sword away from them. What organizations like the Journey Home Project and a lot of the other veteran service organizations out there do is they give them a sword back and give them a purpose to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves and give them that sense of service again.
Whatever we can do to make those families know that, hey, you know what? No matter what happens, we've got your back. That's a big deal. I promise you it is.
And as I say on stage every night, only two things protect America. It's the grace of Almighty God and the United States military. It has always been that way, will always be that way as long as America stays a free and sovereign nation.
So, how we have done it is, we say you can either donate to Code of Vets or the Journey Home Project, because both orgs are fantastic, doing great things. We have a little bit of a different mission, but overall, it's about veterans. It's help. We are all helping veterans. So if somebody, has a heart and they love Charlie Daniels and they want to give to his organization, I'm absolutely okay with that because they are doing fantastic work. And actually, some of their funds comes to Code of Vets. They've given us, I believe, $25,000 this year, which is amazing. I mean, Charlie steps up and puts his money where his mouth is. And then, then if people, donors decide to give to Code of Vets and just give directly to us, then what we do is we just give it straight to veterans in crisis.
Absolutely. And if it was a larger organization, you wouldn't necessarily be able to accomplish the things that you do. You wouldn't be bringing in the folks that you do asking for help, and you wouldn't have it. I'm glad that you had mentioned you've got a couple folks behind the scenes helping Cindy out, because she's going to handle all the hard cases, and you're going to filter and farm some of the other stuff out. It's all volunteer based. It's all, hey, somebody else wants to go out there and do some good things, and they're not doing it for the credit. They're not doing it for the glory. They're doing it because it's the right thing to do. The dynamic is definitely changing in society right now, and the fact that you have recognized it, you've embraced it. This is another mission. This is another calling that needs to be embraced, not just by Code of Vets, but by society as a whole. if you had one message, one little snippet, one little saying, one beacon of hope that you could say to the folks out there, not just the ones that can provide the help, but the ones that need the help, and just a nice well-encompassed message, what would you say to the folks out there?
What I always say, and I go back to my dad's journey, is that you do not have to walk that path alone. There is strength in numbers. Let's find each other. Let's take care of each other, because that's what it's all about. That's where the healing is. You can find life again. You can find strength again in your brothers and sisters in arms. That's
awesome. Extremely powerful. Very, your mission is powerful. What you do is amazing. And we appreciate it. Absolutely. We couldn't think of a finer candidate to interview for this web series that we're doing. If somebody was going to reach out to Code of Vets to get some help, what are the social media tags that they have to go to? Where do they need to go on Twitter, or who do they need to email? What's the email address?
We would love for veterans to go to codeofvets.com, and you just go into the menu and click Vet in Need. And it's a simple form. It is comprehensive, but it's simple. You will get a response within 24 hours, and it's a template email letting you know the items that we need to vet you, to make sure that we're helping good. Our veterans have to be honorably discharged as well. It's just the boundary that we've set, with our bylaws. So we all, we look at the DD 214, we assess the situation, whatever their crisis or need is in the moment, and we ask for certain things. So that's kind of the first step. If you want to email me at codeofvets@gmail.com, you can do that as well. But we're highly encouraging veterans, especially since we're getting such large numbers, because it makes our jobs easier just to fill out the Vet in Need form. Come to @CodeOfVets on Twitter if you want to be a part of the mission and watch us grow and watch us help all of these veterans, because every day I'm putting out veterans in need, but I'm also putting out mission accomplished, meaning that we have raised funds for that one veteran, and that family is secure and going to have food for the night. And I don't want this to get lost to where it's just veteran after veteran after veteran. These are human beings. These are men and women with children who are sometimes skipping meals because they don't have a paycheck. That's a big deal. So every time I put out mission accomplished, it brings tears to my eyes, because I know that family is going to eat that night and for the rest of the month, because we're sending enough funds for that. And I know that they're going to be able to, their kids are going to be able to take a bath or a shower. So that's, for me, that's just, it's very special. We are taking care of each other. And if you cannot donate, we would love for you to donate. But if you can't, a retweet is just as critical. A share to Facebook or wherever, Instagram, wherever you can put us. Share our mission, share these individual veterans, because you never know when it's going to touch a donor's heart. And that's what it's all about. And that's how Code of Vets is spread.
You and I have definitely exchanged tweets on occasion for a couple different things at Code of Vets, and obviously you're the one responding to it with a two-person organization. The person in front of the camera is also the person behind the camera, so to speak.
That's right.
So at Code of Vets, tweet them, get some help, fill out that contact form. codeofvets@gmail.com, the other primary method was what I pulled out of that. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. This has been another Military Gaming League production of Whiskey Delta, or Well Done. Our guest today has been Gretchen from Code of Vets, a wonderful, amazing organization that saves lives one veteran at a time. They're doing powerful things. Check them out at Code of Vets on Twitter, codeofvets@gmail.com. They're doing amazing things. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Whiskey Delta, and have a great one.